Hello. You wouldn't believe the lengths I've gone to film this one today. It rained through the night, thankfully, although I did water the garden, so almost wasted my time and water, but yeah, this morning it's very damp, and as you can probably tell, it's extremely quiet, almost like the lull before the storms. But what I was going to say was the lengths I've gone to do this, because of course the branch, my log, and the moss, which I would normally sit on, is absolutely saturated. And so I thought, well, I'll stand and talk to you. And I've been trying to find branches to hold the device in that I'm speaking to you from. And would you believe it's, yeah, as you can probably tell, I'm having to look up at you today. So it's good. At least I'm able to talk. And one of the things I've just found was I was walking down through the wood tonight, this morning. I don't even know what time of day it is. One of the things I found as I touched the tree barks coming through the wood, there are the soft ones, smooth ones, rough ones, some that are really quite sharp too. They've got sharp bits of bark on them, and some are covered with moss, which makes them nice and soft, but very wet. And I got to thinking, you know, life's a bit like the trees. Life is a bit like our lives, isn't it? We sometimes have to take what we call the rough with the smooth. And this is something that Jesus intimated to his disciples. They too would have to take the rough with the smooth. Jesus often talked about different things, but one of the things that he did say to his disciples, if they wanted to follow him, they would have to take up their cross and follow him. They would have to take up a cross, and the cross in those days, of course, as we know, meant crucifixion. It means terrible times, trials, times of trial. And I think that's what Jesus was telling his disciples. Just because they were going to follow him, just because they wanted to follow him and get to know him, it would have a cost to their lives. And they would find things very difficult, sometimes really good. Sometimes wonderful things would happen. They saw such wonderful things happening when they were with Jesus. But what he was telling them was that they would have to take the rough with the smooth. And sometimes we feel when we got in a rough spot, you know, that it's not going to be too good, that it's not going to be easy, and we try to work things out ourselves, don't we? And what have I said before? We need to take these things to God in prayer. We need to say, hey, I'm struggling here, will you help me? Doesn't mean to say that those things will suddenly disappear. As I said again before, I've said it many times, these things don't necessarily disappear, but what it does do, it gives you confidence, that feeling of hope, that there is something better. There is light at the end of the tunnel, as they say. Somewhere the sun shines, and the clouds have a silver lining. And we may not always see that silver lining, not in their earthly life anyway. But we do need to hold on to that hope. I think one of the things that I find is that prayer does help so many things, and so often prayers get answered and we don't really recognise them. So, rough with the smooth. Trust in the Lord. That's that song, trust and obey, for there's no other way, and there isn't really. Trust and obey, trust in Jesus. Ask him for that help through the difficult times. And I know that many of you are going through more than difficult times, such times that I'd hate to think how I would react or cope with. And I know, and I do appreciate all those that I know who are struggling with that dreadful disease, cancer, and yet still hold on to that faith, still have that peace in their hearts, and I'd like to thank them for that. They are an inspiration. Amen. God bless.